You know that feeling when you look out at the desert? It's stunning, obviously. But there's also that little shiver, like something ancient, maybe a bit unsettling, is just out there.
Oh, absolutely. That immense space,
Yeah.
it can really mess with your head, strips away all the noise and leaves you with something vast, and maybe opens you up to seeing things differently.
Exactly. And that's kind of the territory we're exploring today on the deep dive. We've gone through some really intense firsthand stories, all happening out in the desert, where things just, well, they get strange, scary even, hard to explain.
Yeah, the material we're looking at is mainly from a YouTube transcript. So we have these personal accounts, people describing some pretty unsettling desert run-ins, and then there's this other narrative about a really bizarre roadside event, but it's also tied up with some like hidden family history.
Right. So, our goal here, our mission, is to really get into these stories. What are these experiences actually about? What can they tell us, maybe, about the desert itself, how we see things, or even, the secrets hiding in our own lives?
Okay, let's get into it. First up, a couple of stories where desert exploration went wrong, like really wrong.
The first one, yes, from a high school senior. He and his friends were doing some urban exploration, they call it, out in the Mojave. And what grabs me right away is how this very human urge to explore forgotten places suddenly slams into something genuinely disturbing. And in such an empty place.
Totally. And this wasn't just like stumbling upon something. They actively looked for this abandoned mine shaft, got a tip from some sketchy Instagram account, apparently.
Yeah.
That detail alone kind of sets a mood, doesn't it? Like maybe this isn't going to end well. And Deep Mojave, you said, not exactly a tourist trail?
Ah.
Oh, definitely not. That remoteness is huge. Because out there, everything's amplified, right? Your senses are sharper, but so is that feeling of being utterly alone. When they talk about going down into the mine, that sudden cold, the dead quiet, the smell, you really get the sense they're stepping into another world, maybe one that's not so friendly. It's interesting. Historically, places underground,
Yeah.
often linked to the unknown, the supernatural.
And then that dragging sound. Ugh. You're trapped underground in the dark and something unseen is moving towards you. That hits a really primal fear, right?
It really does. And what happens next is, well, it ramps up significantly. The creepy sound turns into pure shock, this loud metallic clang, and then what he describes as a demonic scream that's just
Ah.
violent, shatters everything. Makes you wonder, okay, maybe weird acoustics in a mine shaft,
Oh.
but a demonic scream.
That pushes
Doesn't prevent it.
boundaries. Their escape sounds like pure panic. Stumbling, pitch black, our guy loses his shoe. Those little details, they make it feel so real, so immediate.
And the lost shoe, it almost becomes this, like, symbol, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Part of his ordinary world left behind in that nightmare place. But finding it later, at the entrance, torn up, with what looked like teeth marks, that just, it really messes with any simple explanation. And it's interesting, he dismissed the idea of maybe a homeless person down there. He thought about it, but based on what he saw or didn't see, it didn't add up. No signs of anyone actually living there.
Yeah, no resources, nothing. And then the Instagram account that sent them there, just radio silence afterwards,
Mhm.
adds this layer of, like, were they set up? Did they stumble into something they shouldn't have? Okay, let's shift now. Another desert story, different situation. Camping trip starts peaceful, ends terrifyingly.
This one, yeah, it really shows how quickly that desert serenity can just
Mhm.
evaporate when something unexpected happens. The narrator and his girlfriend, Tiki, they were out there for the quiet, the stars,
Mhm.
the classic peaceful desert vibe, the desire we have for solace in nature.
And the first couple of nights. Sounds perfect, exactly what they wanted. But then these sounds start. Distant howls, maybe moans. At first they figure, okay, animals. Coyotes, maybe? Logical guess out there. But the sound keeps happening. And it starts to wear on them, That subtle creep of unease.
Exactly. And that unease just explodes on the third night. Footsteps outside the tent. And the description is key, slow, steady. Not like an animal scurrying around.
Yeah.
More deliberate. Suggests something aware, something intentional. Raises the question, what moves like that? Human. Something else.
Then that moment with the lighter, God, that's chilling. Seeing that slow orange glow moving across the tent fabric, it feels so calculated, almost like a taunt. And then boom, the tent's on fire. It goes from creepy feeling to life or death emergency in like a second. Really makes you feel how exposed you are out there.
Totally exposed. Their scrambles to get out, put out the fire. It just highlights that vulnerability.
Yeah.
And then they realize, okay, fire's out, but now they're lost in the dark, can't find who did it. That just compounds the fear, the helplessness.
And just when things couldn't seem worse, those screams come back. The distant ones. Except now they're closer. And there are more of them. It paints this picture of the whole landscape suddenly feeling hostile, actively menacing. Finding their truck feels like sheer luck, a desperate escape from something truly unknown. And the narrator, reflecting later how close they came to real danger, it hits home. These peaceful places can hide real threats.
So looking at these two stories side by side,
Yeah.
what jumps out? Any common threads?
Well, the isolation, definitely. That massive emptiness of the desert seems to just crank up the fear factor in both cases. They're miles from help, so any little thing going wrong is suddenly
Yeah.
huge. It's that reminder, isn't it? We go to these remote places for peace, but that same isolation makes us incredibly vulnerable.
That's a really good point. The desert itself almost feels like a character. It's indifferent, maybe, but in these moments, it feels intensely present, like a backdrop, amplifying the terror. And it offers zero easy answers.
Yeah, no comfort. And in both stories, there's this ambiguity that just sticks with you. Was the mine thing just weird sounds amplified by fear? Was the camping attack some random malicious person?
Right.
Something else? That not knowing, that's what makes them so unsettling, I think. It messes with our need to have everything explained.
Precisely. And you see the impact it leaves. They're left with these huge question marks, this lingering dread about a place they might have once found beautiful or just neutral.
Okay, let's pivot to the third account. This one's different. It shifts from these direct desert scares to more of a personal mystery, family secrets, but it still has this very strange, very tense encounter out in the Arizona desert.
Yeah, this third one feels different. It's about this long simmering suspicion the narrator has about his mother's past in Mexico, how she just wouldn't talk about it. Vague stuff about family, maybe politicians, maybe crooks, but total silence about her own mother. It creates this feeling of hidden history, like a shadow.
It's amazing how silence can sometimes feel louder than words, breeding that suspicion.
And that one tiny detail, hearing the name R during a late night phone call, and the mother's reaction, like total panic at being overheard, that feels like a key, doesn't it? A key to some locked door she really, really doesn't want opened. Suggests a very specific, maybe dangerous connection.
Then, years later, the narrator's driving through Arizona, just a normal drive, until suddenly, boom, road blocked. 2 pickup trucks. Another car pulls up. Armed men. That sudden shift from mundane to potentially lethal. Terrifying. Being trapped like that highlights how fast your sense of safety can just vanish.
Absolutely. And the craziest part, his phone call with his mother, it was still connected through all of this. That's just surreal.
And this is where it gets truly bizarre, right? The gunman, the one in the narrator's track, apparently hears the mother's voice on the phone, reacts to it, even says the name R. That implies a direct link, doesn't it, between whatever secret the mom's hiding and this immediate violent threat the narrator's facing. Makes you think about how secrets can have these long, dangerous ripples.
And the conversation that follows, all in Spanish, which the narrator can't understand, it just emphasizes how he's caught in the middle of something huge and incomprehensible, an outsider in his own story. Then, just like that, they give his stuff back. Except the cash, that chilling line about it being a tax, and then they're gone. No plates on the trucks, just vanished back into the desert. It's baffling, deeply unsettling.
And the mother's explanation later, oh, she'll call the police after that. It feels so weak, so dismissive. It just screams cover up, doesn't it? Like she knows way more than she's letting on. You totally get why the narrator's torn up, suspecting ties to a gang, maybe a cartel, but scared to actually confront her, stepping into that unknown. Huge potential fallout.
So how do we tie this back, this story about hidden family stuff, potential crime? How does it connect to those other desert encounters, the ones that felt more unexplained, maybe supernatural? Is there a bigger theme weaving through all this?
Well, it makes you think about the desert itself, doesn't it? As a place where things get hidden. Its sheer size, the emptiness. It's perfect for concealing things. Natural mysteries, yeah, but human secrets too. Could that feeling of unseen danger, of unexplained forces in the first 2 stories, could it somehow echo the hidden forces, the secrets within this family's history?
That's a really interesting connection. The desert as a metaphor almost for the hidden parts of our lives, the things buried under the surface. Sometimes they stay quiet, sometimes they erupt unexpectedly and unsettlingly. Makes you wonder how many secrets are hidden in plain sight in those seemingly empty spaces around us.
Exactly. And maybe these stories hit home because they touch on that fundamental feeling we all get sometimes, that awareness that there's more going on than what we can see.
Yeah.
Whether it's a weird sound in the dark or a secret someone's keeping. Have you ever felt that? Like there's just more to the story.
Oh, for sure. That little nagging feeling that things aren't quite adding up. So Okay, let's pull it all together. We've heard about a truly terrifying moment deep in an old mine, a camping trip that turned into a nightmare of fire and strange sounds, and this really bizarre roadside shakedown linked to possible family secrets, all playing out against this immense desert backdrop.
And the main takeaway, I think, is how the desert seems to act like this amplifier for the unsettling. It's where being alone makes fear worse, where the unknown feels closer, and where secrets, human or otherwise, can lie buried for ages only to claw their way out in really disturbing
It
ways.
really does make you ponder the stories that landscape holds.
Mm.
So here's something to chew on, maybe. Are these just random, isolated, weird events happening in a big, empty place? Or could they be hinting at something deeper about the desert itself? A reality where the lines get blurry between what's natural, what's human, and maybe what's truly inexplicable. Makes you wonder what else is out there, just over the horizon, beyond what we think we understand.